quite clearly, from a long-term perspective, the Chinese NEV makers like a NIO, like a BYD, like a Xiaomi, like a Huawei are going to decimate the legacy automakers from Europe as well as in the United States. You already saw last year that Nissan and Toyota dropped about 40% year on year on sales. I expect similar numbers, maybe not quite as dire, but I expect Volkswagen to be in trouble. Now, they announced yesterday that they're going to launch a new China software in relation with Xpeng, a Chinese automaker, but those new cars are only going to be launched in 2026. I'm not sure Volkswagen will be able to still be in business, frankly, by then, because the Chinese NEVs are coming on so strong. However, in the short term, investors need to be very cautious because we're in a price-cutting cycle. Tesla has dropped 40% in their share price. I think you and I, the last time I spoke 3 months ago, I said I was bearish on Tesla. I was right. Tesla basically is trying to gain market share by discounting. But in all my decades in China, there's one thing that I've learned. A Western brand cannot compete on price in China. The Chinese manufacturers will come in even cheaper. They'll still have good quality. They'll take even thinner margins. So Tesla's in a lot of trouble. So short term, be cautious on the NEV sector. But long term, if you're going to be investing in a 5-10 year period, then the NEV makers from China are going to dominate the global markets and set global technology standards.
Hold on. I just want to clarify what you're suggesting. You're suggesting that Tesla is potentially in trouble in China, not necessarily in trouble more broadly, because, you could characterize what Tesla is doing as trying to perhaps, compete with China at what they're good at in terms of those low-cost models that they're, touting. So in your mind, is it one, specifically China, and secondly, can you not envisage a circumstance where China dominates everywhere where they don't face potential restrictions like EU, like USA, but the rest of the world will very likely be China's, whether it be one or two of the major players there, and then Tesla takes everywhere that is more closely allied to the United States?
Yeah, those are great questions, Will. So let's answer first by the China side. On China, when Tesla came in, they were a luxury brand. I mean, in my housing compound, people 5 years ago used to buy Bentley, Porsche, BMW, or Mercedes. Then 4 years ago, they all started buying Teslas because they thought it was the coolest thing. Now, in the last year, I haven't seen anyone buy a new Tesla. Everybody's buying a Li Xiang or they're buying a NIO. So the problem is Tesla's brand image in China is gone. There's no reason to buy a Tesla. From a quality standpoint, the Chinese NEV makers are as good, if not even better, and they're even cheaper. So it's kind of like if Louis Vuitton were trying to compete against Coach or Michael Kors and would discount 30%. It would destroy Louis Vuitton's long-term brand image. And that's what Elon Musk has done with Tesla in China. But you're 100% right. There's rising protectionism around the world. The Europeans and most markedly the Americans are adding 25% or huge tariffs on imports of China. Trump and Biden have both said that if BYD manufactures in Mexico, they're not going to allow free tariff or tariff-free BYDs to sell into the United States. So from a protectionist standpoint, the only thing that's stopping the Chinese automakers from taking over the world is protectionist policies, and that's happening. So will Tesla be able to survive in the United States? Yes, if there's huge tariffs. But in China, it's a whole different ballgame. You're seeing the Teslas, the Apples of the world are in a lot of trouble right now because the Chinese consumer electronic manufacturers, and I consider an NEV a consumer electronic right now, are just better and cheaper.